This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. One of the pitfalls of living in a technologically advanced society, well, we say that now, in 100 years, we're going to look back and think, that's how they lived? But to us, what we live in is a technologically advanced society. We got the internet, we got social media, which is, there's barbs involved. It's a double-edged sword to, overuse a metaphor. But with it comes a lot of power to these companies. And I'm going to read from this story about Facebook and the employees there who, these Facebook papers have been released, and all these media organizations agreed together that they would sift through the paperwork and do their reporting, and then on the same day, they would all report their reporting. So no one had the scoop on the other. They'd have time to run down sources and get interviews. But part of some of the documents that were released are actual employees' responses to the inaction that took place and in the lead up to the insurrection on January 6th. I'm going to read a little bit from this Raw Story article. History will not judge us kindly. Facebook internal messages show employees fuming on January 6th over company's role in the Capitol riot. Now, I've known some people who work for Facebook. There are some good and decent people who care about democracy and care about the country they live in. Not everybody is a sociopath, like some people are accused of being who work at or maybe even created Facebook. Facebook employees fumed with anger and regret on an internal messaging system on January 6th as they blamed the company for contributing to the Capitol insurrection. Quote, "This is not a new problem," one employee wrote on Facebook's workplace messaging system, according to a new report from the Washington Post. "We have been watching this behavior from politicians like Trump and the, at best, wishy-washy actions of company leadership for years now. We have been reading the farewell posts from trusted, experienced, and loved colleagues who write that they simply cannot conscience working for a company that does not do more to mitigate the negative effects on its platform." That's from a Facebook employee. People who have witnessed the internal goings-on of this social media behemoth. I think there's an O. Is it B-O or B-E? I think it's B-E. They're not able to handle this anymore. They are vocalizing within internal communication that the company hasn't done enough, in some cases anything, to curtail. The one thing that we know they have done is profit mightily from the chipping away at our democratic institutions. Mark Zuckerberg is a multi-billionaire. He's worth over $100,000 million. Another employee wrote bitterly on Workplace, "Never forget the day Trump rode down the escalator in 2015, called for a ban on Muslims entering the United States, and we," meaning Facebook, "determined that it violated our policies, and yet we explicitly overrode the policy and didn't take the video down. There is a straight line that can be drawn from that day to today, one of the darkest days in the history of democracy and self-governance. Would it have made a difference in the end? We can never know, but history will not judge us kindly." Prescient words. Intelligent words. With an understanding of our past, our present, and the future, because Facebook is not being judged kindly. And in coming years, it will only get worse the more understanding that we gain through the investigation with the Select Committee and the hopeful prosecutions of these individuals. The more that's being learned about the conspiracy that took place to organize and orchestrate the insurrection. This person knew what was going on. A third employee recalled the anger in June 2020 after Black Lives Matter protesters had been forcibly cleared from the park next to the White House before Trump walked through for a photo opportunity, during which he denounced the demonstrations, the Post reports. Employees have been crying out for months to start treating high-level politician figures the same way we treat each other on the platform. That's all we're asking for, the employee wrote. Last we spoke, innocent protesters were tear-gassed under the orders of a political figure whose message was amplified. Today, a coup was attempted against the United States. I hope circumstances aren't even more dire next time we speak. These are the same things I've been screaming about since January 6th. The same things you've been concerned about were internally messaged among Facebook employees. They knew. And if a low-level employee gets it, the multi-billionaire founder, supposed genius, Mark Zuckerberg, also knows. Is he blinded by money and wealth and the collection of more? Is he blinded by power, the power that he wields? Who's to say? It doesn't seem unreasonable to assume that. The Post's report is based on thousands of pages of internal Facebook documents that were turned over to the SEC by whistleblower Frances Haugen. Quote, the SEC documents, which were provided to Congress in redacted form by Haugen's legal counsel and reviewed by the Post and other news organizations, suggest that Facebook moved too quickly after the election to lift measures that helped suppress some election-related misinformation. The rushed efforts to restore them on January 6th was not enough to stop the surge of hateful, violent posts, documents show. A company after-action report concluded that in the weeks after the election, Facebook did not act forcefully enough against the Stop the Steal movement that was pushed by Trump's political allies, even as its presence exploded across the platform. Didn't do enough. They know they didn't do enough. They're admitting they didn't do enough. There is too much power concentrated in too few people, the heads and creators of these particular social media outlets that have a devastating effect, not just on our democracy, but on individuals themselves. We hear the stories about young women, young girls, absolutely negatively impacted by body image issues on Instagram and the nefarious, sinister algorithms that manipulate them to stay on the platform as long as possible, while Zuckerberg bemoans when time on platform is decreasing because money goes down. They don't make as much advertising dollars from that. Scary times. I hope you agree. I'd love to know if you do. You can call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. I would absolutely love to hear from you. You can follow me on social media at Dollemore, all the way across the board. And if I bring you value, some value, I'm not for everybody, but if I am for you, you can click the join button below, see what's involved with becoming a channel member. For as little as $2 a month, you can help support and produce my work. You can also head over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Anyway, I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.